Hello everyone, my name is Katie Carson. I'm the Duchess of Suds here at Royalty Soaps, and today I am making a soap inspired by one of my favorite characters in the Over the Garden Wall miniseries, John Crops. Okay, now John Crops is in his own special little episode. It's like a prequel to the whole series, but it is one of my favorites, and he as a character just has my heart and soul. I knew we had to memorialize him in soap. Now, one of the things that makes this particular soap really unique is the fact that I cast the embed mold myself. So the little hat that I put on each and every soap bar is not a typical soap mold that a whole bunch of people are using. I made it here in my studio. I made 50 different cavities. I started with 2 little forms, and then I made 50 of them, and then I cast them all. It was a process, y'all. It took me 3 days to do it, but John Crops is worth it. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and without further ado, let us make this pumpkin soap. So before we start anything, I'm just going to show you my soap design for John Crops. Obviously it's in a protective sheet here. I'll just pull it out. This is what it looks like. So the hope is to have kind of a watermelon-y looking bottom. Now it's gonna swirl a little more than this. It's not gonna look exactly like this with the wavy lines, but that's the inspiration. And then the top to be the pumpkin, because you can see John Crops here. He has a pumpkin for a head, and then he has a watermelon body, and it looks like cucumber or pickle legs, and then on top he has this little straw hat. So that's what I put on top, so it would look like a little straw hat. And here he is at the end with his lady in his vegetable vehicle. I'm going to be using this glitter from The Good Glitter. It's called Vampy. It is one of their autumnal blends for obvious reason. I really wanted there to be sort of a goth element of this part of the soap because Over the Garden Wall is a little bit dark, and I felt like this particular soap just needed I don't know, a little edge to it. So adding some black glitter is really going to be helpful. And then in this bag we have the actual hats. So I've shook them up with some mica. I might even need to shake them up a little bit more because you can see this one has a little too much green on it, but I used olive martini and a little bit of Sister Golden Hair from Mad Micas for all these hats, and you can see they're imperfect, which is kind of what we wanted because John Crops really does kind of have a slightly disheveled, he's very country, he kind of speaks of himself as like a poor old country boy. So we weren't going for perfection here, we were going for something that looked a little more tattered, but I think on top of this soap design, they're going to look perfect. I think we're really gonna achieve the look we wanted. Time for my little John Crops. So in this bucket, which holds roughly 12 quarts, a little over 10 liters-ish, is a mixture of melted coconut oil, melted organic and sustainably harvested palm oil, olive oil, sweet almond oil, and some castor oil, and that is my soap recipe. I have it listed down below for those of y'all who make soap and are probably intermediate to advanced. If you want to learn how to make soap, I have a whole series 100% free and available on YouTube so that you can learn it with an easier recipe that's a little less expensive than the one that I'm making today. And we've got to get this all blended up. Okay, so I am just going to move this and move this. I have another little container here that I'm going to measure out some soap batter into. Okay, so I'm going to move my large container out of the way because these are the containers I really need to be focusing on. And we're going to add in 2 colors. So here we have the Maniacal Pea mixed with a little bit of radioactive green just to enhance enhance that color. And then we have some Envy Green mixed with a little bit of Green Vibrance. And now I'm going to add in my fragrance blend. So this is 75% Melon Ball from Wholesale Supplies Plus and 25% Farmer's Market Vine Ripened Tomato. Obviously, John Crops is made out of both fruit and vegetables, so I wanted to make sure that I had a fragrance that really reflected that. And oh man, look at that. It rices immediately. That is the fragrance oil. Y'all, look, it is literally a slab. For the next layer, I'm gonna have to be a little more careful than that, but I think everything is blended in now. So I have my mold here from Workshop Heritage. Of course, I try to leave as many links down below as I can for those of y'all who want to use what I'm using and you're interested in making soap. And the first thing I'm going to do is make some lines. And I'm going to try to continue to use these lines as guides for the rest of the soap. So now that I have these down, I'm going to try to pour this darker green in between the green lines I made here. So there you go right there. And it does seem to be that like once you pour it, it's not going to move because of the nature of this fragrance oil. So I have hope that we'll actually have some decent wiggly lines like you would see on a real pumpkin or a real watermelon. So I'm just going to keep going over where I've been, put it right on top for the green. And I'm just gonna keep doing this until it's all full. And let me just say, this is such a gardeny kind of fresh scent. It's really super nice. I will definitely be using this blend in the future because even though it does kind of rice a little bit, as you can see, I feel like it's worth it because the smell itself is just so good. Got to scrape out my container here. Scrapey, scrapey, for those of y'all who have been around since the beginning of time. I've got to get all of these drips into the soap. I don't want to leave any in the containers if I don't have to. So basically what I'm going to do is after I pour this last layer, I'm not going to tap anything down. That's the way we're going to do it today. We're going to leave it kind of gloopy. Awesome. Okay, that is looking nice and watermelon-y. Is that a word? Watermelon-y? Watermelon-like? Okay, and now that I know what a tricksy hobbit this fragrance oil is, I'm going to blend all the color into this first. That way I know for sure everything will be colored properly. And I cannot find my baby spatula anywhere. I've been looking for that thing for 3 weeks. I think the borrowers must have taken it. All right, I'll go ahead and blend this up. Wait a minute. Oh dear, I did not scrape that off and it's hard as a rock. There's definitely going to be little chunks of green floating around if I don't take care of that now. Okay, look at this beautiful pumpkin color. I am thrilled to death. So let's go ahead and just pour this right in. I'm going to pour it to a corner. I know that that first layer is already super hard. Y'all, my second camera just turned off literally at the most satisfying part of the video. So sorry, I had to go turn that on real quick. Got to scrape all of this down. This is so stunning and it smells delicious. Now, obviously this soap is all one color on top, but I am going to texture the top a little bit just because it's obviously not flat. A little texture never hurt nobody. It's just, I don't know. It enhances a design even when it's all one color, in my opinion. People like to see a textured soap top. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it feels more rustic or what, but I always get people in customer service being like, I really love this soap. The only thing that would have made it better was some texture on top. Now, I am reserving the right, if I do not like this glitter, to not use it on future batches, okay? I think it's gonna look good, but if it doesn't, I am going to change it. Like I said, I wanted a little bit of darkness for this particular batch over the garden wall. It's not the lightest and most gleeful thing in the whole wide world, and I just felt like the top of this soap needed a little bit. It just needed a little bit of darkness on top. But if tomorrow I cut it and I'm like, that ain't it, then I will simply leave it off the top. But for now, we're gonna cover the whole thing in the glitter. And I think I'm gonna like it because it really is just pulling everything where it's supposed to be. All right, looking good on top. Now I am going to put down our slab grid. So this is made with PVC pipe and some fishing wire that has been pulled through and attached. And when I place it on top, it shows me exactly where all the bars are going to be cut. That's why I use this. Because when you're placing 52 little hats on top, let's face it, it can get a little bit complicated. And I would hate to place it in just the right spot so that all of the embeds got cut. That would be a catastrophe. Okay, I'm marking the ends first. This is what I do to kind of just help me get my bearings on where everything's going to be split. All right, we're going to turn it so that I can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. So I have to tell you guys about my brother Elisha. So my brother Elisha is 16. I've talked about some of my younger siblings in recent videos. So Elisha is like, I don't know, my best friend Caroline, she's the other part of the marketing thing with me and Caleb, says that Elisha was written by a woman. That's the way she describes it, because he is the best kid. Okay, so I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So I have some acreage, Caleb and I do, here in Texas, and it needs to be mowed all the time. It's very expensive to have people come out and mow it because there's like 5 acres on the front homestead. We pay Elisha to come over and mow the 5 acres for us. So when he comes over, he does everything, all the weed whacking, and then I pay him to do that. So recently he broke a bone in his foot. He tripped and fell, and you know, it was very sad because he loves to be outdoors. He loves to help my dad build stuff, etc. And Sunday, which is the day he likes to mow, rolled around, and I was like, well, obviously, you know, he's hurt his foot. He won't be able to do that. But lo and behold, he comes over and he's like, oh no, I'm still doing your lawn. Now, the boy is walking on crutches. And it's like, oh, no, you need your lawn mowed. And I was like, Elisha, it's no big deal. Caleb and I can do it this week. Don't worry about it. And he was like, no, that is my responsibility. So enjoy this picture of him coming up sweaty on his crutches to mow big sister's lawn because he did not want me to go not a single week with the lawn being too long. So that right there is like the classic example of how he is. He will do anything to help other people out. Like it's just the way he was made. So right now he's helping my dad build some stuff. His foot is still broken. And the other thing Elisha does is make knives. Now, I've talked about this in the past. He is in the process of building a little knife shop in my parents' backyard, and he makes, I'm gonna have to try to remember. I'm not a knife maker. I've watched Forged in Fire a couple of times, but I think it's stock knives, like stock handle knives. I don't know. In other words, he's not blacksmithing. He's not forging steel from scratch. He has a blade that he sharpens. I think I've got all that right. If someone is a knife maker or a spouse of a knife maker or something, please have grace on me. So this is what he does, and he has gifted Caleb a knife, okay? And he gifted my mother for Mother's Day a set of kitchen knives, a complete set, and they are beautiful and they work so well. And I have loved getting to see every single part of his journey. He's so organized and he cares so much about the quality. And at some point he would like to sell them. And I told him, hey, listen, you know, I can tell people on Royalty Soaps about your knives. And he was like, listen, don't tell them too early because I want them to be perfect and I want to have beautiful packaging and I want to be able to offer people the best thing I can do. So he's so cute. He doesn't even know I'm doing this. He has no idea I'm telling you guys about this. But yeah, be looking for that sometime in the future because he has been making knives, I think, for about 2 years now, and he's getting better and better at them. Another thing to prove that he is just the nicest kid. He gave me back my money that I gave him for Mother's Day. Okay, so I paid him to do the lawn. It was on Mother's Day that he did it. Then he came back, gave me all my money back, and said, my present to you for Mother's Day was doing the lawn, but also telling you that with this money, you have to buy something for your Renaissance Fair outfit. You're not allowed to use this money for anything else. I mean, come on. How sweet is that? So he is so great. I'll have to show you guys some of the knives he's making, and I teased in another video I was going to talk about him, so that's why I did it in today's, because I wanted to keep my promise. Here is John Crops, y'all. Look at it. Those little hats are too much. Okay, let me spritz the top a little bit with rubbing alcohol. Typically, I wouldn't do that because sometimes the rubbing alcohol can make some of this glitter start to break down. It is an eco-friendly, like biodegradable glitter. When you put it in the water, the enzymes in the water actually break it down completely. So you have to be careful putting rubbing alcohol on top, but just a little bit. I want just a little bit so we can see those hats sparkle. Oh, yes. So we will be back in 18 to 24 hours to cut up these soaps, take a look at the inside, see how John Crops is looking after this quick commercial break, and I'll tell you more about Elisha's knives then. Okay guys, check it out. The next day, that orange looking a lot better, but I have to say, I do have some things I'm gonna tweak. First thing is that I'm gonna make that first layer flat. I'm not feeling it. I thought adding a little texture to it would make it look a little more pumpkin-y, because, you know, pumpkins are a little bumpy, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, nah, that is not the answer. Also, no matter how good I tried to place these, like somebody's getting whacked. And most of the time it's the ones on the end. Like, look at this. This is a tragedy. He just lost half his hat. Let's just take those away so that we don't have to look at what I messed up on. Instead, let us focus on the positives, like this one, which looks far more how I wanted it to look, though again, I will probably make that flat in the future. I love the little hat. It's so cute. The vampy glitter is bringing everything exactly where it needs to be. The only thing I may change is adding a little bit of something to this orange layer, because while I do like it completely orange, it may do the whole soap a little good to have some texture here, be that blueberry seeds or some apricot seed, maybe some coconut cur powder. I don't know, something like that, but it still looks really good. I am also really happy to see that the orange got to be a very pumpkin-y orange by the end of it. Whenever you're having to make so much soap a very pigmented color, it's hard to know how much you have to add, but I'm pleased with the end results for sure. Also, the way that we did the bottom looks really, really good. It doesn't look very, like, you know, watermelon-y in that everything is extremely precise, but it also doesn't look like you're just regular average drop swirl, which I appreciate. This is a really, really good scent blend, so I will be sharing it with you on Instagram in a little screenshotable format, so you can keep it for your own personal use if you ever want to do sort of an autumn vegetable garden type fragrance. Okay, question of the day.
Wait, I want to do it.
Okay.
What is your favorite item that you've bought this year?
Oh, that's a really good one. Golly. One of my favorite things that I have bought this year is a new washing machine, because Caleb and I have been using a washing machine that we were given by my grandmother, and it was used and she was upgrading and it made an awful noise, but there was not really anything wrong with it, but she didn't want to listen to the noise anymore. So when we got married, she was like, hey, you want this totally functional washing machine that's just really loud? And we were like, absolutely. And that thing finally broke. It took 6 years, but it broke, and it also was super loud. So we got a new one, and it's really fancy, and it's incredible to just do a load of laundry without having to hear the load of laundry. You know what I mean? So your answer does not have to be as big as that one, but it's been a highlight of my year, and I had to share. Hard work pays off. Casting your own mold pays off. I am thrilled to death with this soap. Now, did you find the emoji in the video? Don't forget about logging the emojis. Write it down in a phone notes, log it on the tracker. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm giving away the Nintendo Switch you see behind me. Watch this video right here. It tells you how we're going to do the entries. It will be open on November 5th, the day of the release, for you to log all your emojis emojis. And listen, I made it so you don't have to have a TikTok, you don't have to have a YouTube account. All you need is an email address to enter, and I've even hidden a little bonus emoji in one of the 6 videos this month. So literally anyone can enter this giveaway. It is open worldwide. Obviously, if you're under 18, you do need your parents' permission to enter, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. Be sure you do something fun for yourself today, like going and watching Over the Garden Wall. It is a little cute, spooky. It's a little bit like off the wall humor. It's so good. Or maybe you want to go get yourself a Celeste sweatshirt. I got this on Etsy from the cutest Etsy seller ever, and it arrived so quick. I will, of course, leave it down below with links to all of the things in my background, because there are a lot of small businesses that are included in this Switch giveaway, okay? And they all deserve their own airtime. Like, look at this print. You probably can't see it fully. Let me show you. Do you see this? Oh my word. Anyways, I'll link it down below, because there is nothing we love more than themed AC&H merch, okay? We only have one more design in this collection, and it is my favorite one by far. And yes, I made it using a custom silicone mold. So you cannot find little embeds like this anywhere. You guys are definitely gonna wanna see it. The video will be released on Saturday, November 5th, along with the rest of the collection, and I will see you guys there. So until then, bye for now. Have a great week. Bye.